guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Shawna. If you're not new, thank you for coming back. So we hit 100 subscribers. Oh my god. First of all, thank you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you're new here, you could just hit the subscribe button now, because if you're watching this, you're watching for Cuba related videos. There's obviously going to be more, so just subscribe from now. Like, the next goal is to get to 1,000. Super hyped when I hit 100, but you know, let's just help me help you get more information by getting me to 1,000 subscribers. It's a mutual exchange. So by the time you're seeing this, in all honesty, I'll probably be back in Cuba, hopefully halfway through quarantine. My flight is tomorrow, we're leaving tomorrow, and we're going back. So, you know, like real actual Cuba related videos are coming like soon, filmed in Cuba, about Cuba, everything in Cuba. So somebody asked, if you can tell from the title, this video is about how I found my house in Cuba, the whole house hunting process. And somebody asked for me to speak about it. I'm gonna link her name. It will be somewhere here so that you guys can see. And props to her, because I really didn't know what to film this weekend. So yeah, all right. So first thing I want to say, a whole story time. So I left Jamaica, hopped on a plane, went to Cuba with minimal knowledge of Spanish, just high school Spanish, and I sucked at the conversational part, so I wasn't good at like speaking. I was extremely nervous and everything, but nonetheless I went to Cuba for school. Now the important thing to know is that when you're starting school during that period, even before COVID, there was usually a quarantine period, so you do a bunch of tests and everything before you start, and then when you go up, you still have to do a quarantine period that's like about a week long, and you do it on the campus, where they just basically like watch you to make sure that you don't have any symptoms, and you do some tests over there too to make sure that you didn't falsify any of the information that you had given to them before. Right? Fair. It's not really like strict quarantine, like you're allowed to walk around the campus and thing, you're just not allowed to leave off of the property, but you're allowed to walk around and thing. Now they have Wi-Fi on the property. When I just started, that was nothing, so I was really bored. But yeah, with me, like I said, I wasn't good with conversational Spanish, so and my mother came with me. My mom doesn't speak any Spanish, so I didn't really go anywhere. We went to the hotel, and then 2 days later, and went and like got a phone chip and stuff, and then 2 days later she took me to school and dropped me off, and then my mom went home on the flight the following day. Now, finding a house. Once quarantine was done, I had met people who I came up on the same flight with that were starting with me, and we quarantined together. One person specifically. So a lot of stuff that we did like before going to school, we did it together, so, and our families and everything. When we come off of the campus, a lot of things happened that day. That's a whole different video every time. But we basically left the campus late, and it was kind of late in the evening. So we're walking with our suitcases from school to walking through the communities trying to find houses that are renting. And majority of them have already been rented, and the reason for that is most people found their houses before they went into quarantine. So pro tip, don't be like me, go look for your house before you start the quarantine, so that you'll just have a set place to go as soon as you're finished. We didn't have that information. We didn't know that we should have done that, nor could I have spoken well enough to really relay that to a land person or a Cuban landlord or landlady. So yeah, we're walking on the road with some other friends, some other Jamaicans that we had met. Lo and behold, it starts raining. My suitcase wheel broke from like in transit and thing. I have a broken suitcase dragging around. We're going from house to house, street to street, like asking, knocking on gates and then asking if anyone's renting. They're like, no, we're not renting, all that jazz. The rain coming down, I'm getting depressed. Calling my mom like, Mom, I can't find anywhere to live. And I'm from a sheltered home, so I've never been homeless in my life. I've been homeless twice since living in Cuba. So it was a whole thing. And we didn't find a house. We ended up having to sleep on our friend's couch for like, I think, a couple days. So at the end of the day, we just dragged their stuff down to their house and up their many stairs. And the following day, we went out looking for houses again. Side note, if you watched my video on how to become an international student and how to study in Cuba, I spoke about adaptability. Here is a moment when things got like, I wouldn't experience this outside of like life in Cuba. So, and if you were able to like adapt, it would be weird. Sleeping in a stranger's house, we just met them like a couple days ago. Yes, they're the same age as us, but we don't know them from Adams. Like, our suitcases are all over their living room. We've taken over one of their rooms. I'm sleeping beside somebody I don't know from Adams. And I'm the only girl in this equation. Like, all the other people who are there are guys. It was a kind of a culture shock for me, but it wasn't that deep. But it was just like, this is just a situation that I have to deal with. I don't really have a choice. I don't have anywhere else to live. It's like here or upon the road. Like, it's never that deep. But it's one of those things where you just kind of have to adapt. I feel like as Jamaican people, when people just like get up and like want to help like that, or we're like extremely friendly like that, we kind of look at each side and it's like, what is your ulterior motive? But when it's a bunch of young people and things, you kind of just have to help each other out, or else life just go be unnecessarily hard. Anyway, next day we went out again. Still didn't find a house. At this point, I was getting way more concerned now. Like, I was concerned the first day, but I was getting way more concerned now. Ended up that one of the guys knew someone who was in their class who was an Angolan girl, which if you've watched my Christmas vlog, you know Abby, who I lived with for about 3 years in her house. So she asked her landlady if it would be cool if I stayed there with them. She said yes. I ended up renting there, super close still to that landlady. She's like my Cuban mom. So stuff ended up working out. That was how I found my first house. That was fine. Some things that I want to talk about, talking points here. So that was like kind of just the struggle of my first house. So my recommendation, find a house before you go into quarantine and negotiate. There are businesses that will find houses for you. If I could find the picture, I'll insert it here. There's one in Cuba where like you can pay them to find houses for you if you're an international student, and you can choose that option, but obviously you have to pay them a percentage. Sometimes it's easier to just go looking for yourself. It's definitely more frustrating though, so if you can't bother with the stress, just use that because it takes a lot. So my first house rent at the time cost about $230. It was a 3-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom that we all shared, a kitchen and washroom that led into each other. That was basically the general space, and the living and dining room was one thing, and it had like a little patio. It was an apartment. Now, I feel like I've also said this before, when you're going, don't go with like some great expectations of like what you see on TV, like, oh my god, I'm gonna have my own apartment, it's going to be great, it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be big and spacious. No, adjust your expectations. It's not, you're not going to live in like some horrible hovel. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you have to adjust your expectations. It's very rare when you'll find like somewhere that's like really nice and it's like affordable, especially if you like live in like Havana, which is like the capital. Rent can get kind of pricey, the nicer the places, especially if it's recently been renovated. If you move towards like the country-ish areas, you'll find nice houses for cheap that have been recently renovated. But if you want to stay in Havana, that's kind of something that you have to search really hard for. The second time I was homeless, I had completed first year, completed pre-med and Spanish course, and I went home and came back up, and it was time for me to start med school. Now we basically relocate to a different part of Havana, and we didn't really know anyone there to like ask for help to find houses. So when we came up back, I was staying with, again, the same friends that we stayed with the first time when we came up. on them couch again. And we were there for about maybe like 2 weeks looking for houses, and it wasn't working out. Walking in the street. Did it rain this time? It drizzled this time, but we didn't have our suitcases. I learned from the first time. And I remember walking in the street and being like, okay, I'm so tired of this, I'm so over this. We didn't like any of the places that we saw. We went to the area where our school was and saw this one house, and it was just okay. I wasn't impressed by it, and what they were asking for the rent was not worth it, in my opinion, to this day. So it was a 2-bedroom, it was an apartment, same way. I think we shared a bathroom. The kitchen was just okay sized, and the dining room was kind of small. And they wanted us to pay $350 US. And I was like, first of all, my budget is never going over $300 for rent, and that didn't include utilities for them. So the $350 didn't include utilities. The place, it just wasn't worth it, and they were too eager to me. Like, I don't like when you're too eager. It makes me think like something is wrong. Like, why is it eager for us? Like, we said that we would think about it. We went back to where we were staying, and like the lady texted me and was like, we're never going to find anywhere in that area for that price and things, so we might as well take. I was like, I don't want you to be my landlady because you seem way too eager. So I just know, like, if you're too focused on money and all of that jazz, it's going to turn me off, because that will make me feel like you'll keep me out at any point just to be, once I can't pay her, and that's not okay. Like, so I blocked the lady and then we went looking for different houses. I remember walking in the street with Abigail, my housemate, and we couldn't find anywhere. Walking, literally talking to God, being like, okay, God, I need somewhere where I have my own bathroom in my room. I want a spacious area, spacious kitchen. It needs to have a ton of windows, and I need there to be a bath mat in my bathroom, and I need there to be a washing machine, along with an area for us to hang out the stuff to dry. Very specific. The following day, we went back to the place where we were looking for houses closer to our school, and we were walking in this road, and I saw this house, and like there was just like, the number was on the wall, and I don't know how the house, like, I just saw the house. Everyone keeps saying they don't understand how I just saw the house. It's not one that would stand out or anything like that, but the house spoke to me, you know? So we took the number, we called them, and asked to see the house like the same day. She said she was at work and we'd have to wait until like 6 o'clock if we wanted to see the house same day. It was like maybe after 4, so we went to the park and we sat down and waited until 6 o'clock. Then she called us and we went and saw the house. Every single thing that I said I wanted was in this house, fam. Like sit down to the bath mat, which blew my mind. The bath mat was also provided in this house. So after we walked into the house, we were like, this is it. Like, without question, they were like, when you want to move in? We were like, tomorrow, like as soon as possible. Like, everything. We walked into the house and this knew it was our house. This is an actual house. So not even like an apartment, like full living room, full dining room, full kitchen, full rooms for each of us. And I had my own bathroom. Abby's bathroom would be shared with the third room, but we didn't rent with anyone else. And washing machine and full like clothing line and everything outside. It was every single thing that I asked for. We moved in as soon as possible, and guess how much rent was? $300, within my price range. Literally a couple roads down from the same lady who was saying that we won't find any house in that area or in that vicinity that's giving a better price. If the place is not worth it, don't take it. Don't let anyone pressure you into getting a place that you don't want or making you worry. You'll find somewhere eventually. Don't rush too much. And that's how I found my current house that I live in now. I actually have a friend who, for those who are about to start school and stuff, like that's his business. He finds houses for new students. So if any of you guys are going to start, whenever you're going to start, and you can just DM me on Instagram and I'll put you in contact with him. for a commission fee. I hope he sees this. But yeah, and you guys can like find a house and such, but as I've always said, you kind of have to be strong when you're going to study in Cuba. There are lots of things that will make you sad and discourage you and like depress you. You just have to brush yourself off and try again. But yeah, and that's why I found my house. I hope that was helpful. Another thing that I want to talk about probably is to try and gauge people. If you're uncomfortable somewhere, or your land person is someone who is very serious like about their rent and everything, and you just feel uncomfortable, you don't feel like you can speak to them or anything, or talk to them if you're in a condition and thing, and they're just not interested in hearing it or anything, and that concerns you, find somewhere else. It's not worth the stress and everything. If you're uncomfortable, don't stay somewhere because you can't bother with moving. I get it, trust me. Moving sucks, but it's best that you live somewhere where you're comfortable and somewhere where it is safe. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I have 2 more to go film and put out. Today has been a hectic day, but if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with somebody else, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Please subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button, okay? Anyways, bye guys.